there, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make videos about a little bit of everything, and today I've got another embroidery for you. I have been obsessed with the latest Story of Seasons game. I've been playing it quite a bit. I definitely want to do like a farm tour maybe one day of that, but if you're like me, I grew up playing Harvest Moon games, so obviously Story of Seasons I love just as much, and I just think the art style is always so cute in these games, so I wanted to play with that a little bit and create an embroidery pattern that highlights, of course, the adorable cows, but then also some key icons and items from the game. You'll see in this I included the blue feather, because that's always a big one, and just little things like that to really make it feel like Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons. This pattern is available on my Etsy, so I'll link that down below. It comes with the PDF download of the pattern, the color guide for the specific colors that I use, but feel free to use your own colors. I would love to see your guys' other color schemes. So I love how this turned out. I decided to use a little bit of a pastel color scheme, a little muted, because I usually like that better. And yeah, I'm excited, so let's get into the video. The materials you'll need is your pattern, a wooden and plastic embroidery hoop, some scissors, a needle, DMC embroidery floss, and some white cotton fabric. I use a pencil for tracing, a light pad for the pattern, and a hot glue gun. To start, you're going to print out your pattern. I'm using a 5-inch embroidery hoop, so I printed it out at 5 inches width. And I'm using a plastic one size up because it has the grip that I like better than the wooden one. From here, just prep your embroidery hoop like normal. And I'll be doing my embroidery on this first side here so that I can lay my hoop flat onto my pattern and trace it onto the hoop more easily. I always just use a pencil and this little light pad to trace my patterns, but you can also tape the pattern up to a window if you want a light source going through the paper. For the body of the cow, we're using 3 threads of our embroidery floss. And throughout this whole project, I'm just showing how I am going to be embroidering with the satin stitch the direction that the drawing is facing. So that's how you basically show off the movement and what direction you want your stitches to be. So for the head of the cow, I'm doing this direction at a slight diagonal. And we are using the satin stitch for the majority of this project. Stitching side to side to fill in the eyes. I'm doing the eyes first so that I can just go around them with the white that I'll use for the face. Going back in with the same angle that we used for the little snout. I'll be doing side to side stitching for both of the ears. And I added 2 little French knots for the nostrils. Fill in the rest of the face with white. And I did an up and down stitch for the little eye sparkle thingamabob. Side to side for the pink of the ears. finished the head with these little horns, I did the original angle that we did for the rest of its face. Went in and filled the body in. For the whole body, we are just using side to side. The only exception you'll see is for the tail and the udder and the little bell. Once I got to the spots, I decided to fill those in with black first so that I could more easily embroider around them with the white thread. For the tail, I went along it with a back stitch. Embroidered straight up and down, starting with the black so I could blend the white into it. Did a straight up and down stitch for the udder. And the bell was basically side to side, but you can see there's a slight angle with the direction it's facing. And then a straight up and down for the bell bobble thingy. Alrighty, the cow is done. Now we're going to go into the border. For the entire border, we'll be using 2 embroidery threads. My best advice for the border is just to use different direction stitches to portray different sections of each little icon. So you can see I went as a diagonal first, and now I'm using side to side for the watering can body. Diagonal stitch facing the other way. I went side to side up the watering can handle. Diagonals for the top part. And I forgot to film this, but for the dark gray top part, I went in at slight diagonals right there. Diagonal to show which way the shell is facing. And the grooves of the shell is embroidering from the center downward. Stitches all meeting in the center for this turnip. Up and down for the top of the bag. And side to side for the body of the bag. For the feather, I went along the whole thing and I did diagonal stitches meeting in the center to create that line through the middle of the feather. You can see the stitches I made here, and then I just went in and filled them all in. Slight angle for the spool of thread. And side to side for the top and bottom. Another slight angle for the log. For the swirl, I did a back stitch around. And I ended up kind of following the swirl as well with random little back stitches to add a bit of dimension. Angle for the direction the strawberry is facing. And a slight starburst stitch to show off the leaves. Side to side for our milk label. Downward stitches following the curves of this cap here. I know you can't see it too well, but it's side to side for the top of the cap. And side to side filling in the rest of the milk. Side to side for the stems of the mushrooms. And up and down for the tops of the mushrooms. And the last stitch is to make these little hearts around the border, and that's just a little V stitch inward for each one, and I go over them a couple times to add a bit of width. And now you're all done. The colors I used for everything is included in your pattern on the color guide. If you use other colors, feel free to tag me on Instagram at Jamie.Photo. I would love to see your guys' creations and how you interpret this design. Here I'm just transferring it back onto my wooden hoop. And I always finish off my embroidery with this little hot glue technique to hold down the fabric in the back. Trim off the excess fabric and you are good to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to try out some embroidery projects. As always, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you want to see more videos like this one. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!